So the first one we're doing is strontium metal. It's going to react with aluminum chloride. And you're going to get strontium chloride plus aluminum. Okay, so what we're going to do is look up strontium. What's the symbol for strontium? SR. This is a compound, so we'll come back to that. This is a compound, we'll come back to that. And then for aluminum, what would you write down? Al. Alright, now if it's a compound, we got to figure out the combination. So aluminum's a +3 and chlorine's a -1. So what's the formula for aluminum chloride?
You need 1 aluminum, 3 chlorides.
So it's Al,
Cl,
Cl,
3.
3. Need 3 of them. Okay, so that balances out it to be -3 + 3. Then we do our arrow. We look up strontium, and its charge is a +2. Chlorine's a -1, so then that formula is what?
SrCl2.
SrCl2. Any questions with that? So, this is what I want you to do to practice for tomorrow. Balance that equation. Balance that equation. I'm going to give you about a minute, a little over a minute. I think I've given you enough time. This is not a too tough a one. We got a 3 and a 2. Remember, we want to get those to 6 if we got subscripts of a 3 or a 2. So to get this chlorine and AlCl3 to be 6, I put a 2 in front. That makes this 6 chlorines, makes that 2 aluminums. Over here, I put a 3 in front. Makes it 6 chlorines and 3 aluminums. Or 3 sulfur, or strontiums, I'm sorry. Okay? Then on the other side, I've got 1 and 3. 1 and 3 on the right side, so I put a 3 in front. Gives me 3. And on aluminum, I've got a 2 here and a 1 here. So if I put a 2 in front of that, that changes that to 2. And 3, 2, 6. So it balances. So it's 3, 2, 3, 2. Questions? That would be a pretty easy one, you know, on the quiz tomorrow. So we can kind of go from there and see. All right. So you guys go ahead and try to do number 2 if you haven't done it already. It's pretty simple to do that. The one that you're going to have trouble with is hydrogen gas, and I'll explain why. So go ahead and do number 2. See if you can do it, and then we'll confirm if you did it right or not. Should have Na, H2O. In fact, I did this one for you guys in class. That was the one with the water, and I put the sodium in there, and it bubbled and burned and fizzed. Okay, and it made a basic solution.
NaOH.
So sodium's Na.
OH.
Yeah, sodium's plus. Hydroxide's a -1. It's OH. So they are equal. And you don't have to have a subscript for those. Plus,
Hydrogen.
should be hydrogen. I don't know why I wrote aluminum. Got aluminum on my mind, I guess. So that should be hydrogen gas. Now, Something that's hard to remember, and this is the first time it comes into play, is if there's a select number of elements, they're kind of like pairs of shoes in your closet. You have to show 2 of them. So there's 7 elements you have to show a subscript for when you write them by themselves. Okay? Shirt. Got 1 of them, right? Put that on. Pants. Got 1 of them. Put that on. Shoes, I look for 2. Okay? It'd be kind of funny for me to come to school with 1 shoe on. Okay? Or socks. I look for a pair of socks that matches. So there's some things that you have to show 2 of, and hydrogen's 1 of them. Okay, I'm going to give you a list of those here in a second. Did you got to show 2 of them? You can't. You have to. All right. So I'm going to let you try to balance that as practice. This is not that easy, but I'm going to have you try to balance it. So go ahead and try to balance it if you would. Up to the top, if you would put these elements as diatomic, somewhere on your sheet, put diatomic. They are H2, hydrogen. They're O2, which anytime you have oxygen gas. F2 would be fluorine gas. N2 is nitrogen gas. Cl2, chlorine gas. F2, I already did F2. Br2, and that's not a gas, it's a liquid, so I'm just going to put Br2 for bromine. And then I2 for iodine. Okay. So anytime you say, it says hydrogen gas, you write H2, or oxygen gas. How do you remember those? They either element ends in INE or IDE endings. So like oxygen, well, I'm sorry, not ID, GEN. So INE or GEN. So like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, you have to use diatomic. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, they're diatomic. So let's balance this guy. So I'm going to put them in order. NaHO, NaHO. So Na's 1, hydrogen's 2, oxygen's 1. Over here, Na's 1, hydrogen's 3. 1, 2, 3, and oxygen's 1. So then, that hydrogen, you need to balance, and you say, well, it's got 2 and 3, I need to get it to 6. Well, on this one, you've got hydrogens in multiple spots. So, you got to give them the balance, and this one's really tricky. Anything you put in front of this one's going to give you an even number of oxygens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 2 here. That makes that 4. It makes that oxygen 2. Okay, and then I'm going to balance out the oxygens. So I'm going to put a 2 in front of that. It gives me 2. It gives me 2 and 4. And it gives me 2 oxygens. Now all I have to do is put a 2 in front of that and it's balanced. So that's a tough one to do. It's a tough one to balance. It's not big numbers, but that's a tough one to do. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I would like you for tomorrow to do problem 3, 4, and 6. Do 3, 4, and 6, and then that'll be good. We'll take our test. We'll look at 3, 4, and 6. We'll have you finish this up for tomorrow.
How many questions are on it?
Oh, I'm not going to put very many. I'd probably put in there, probably about 7 that you have to balance. So, not very many. Okay, all right. Make sure the lab, you're getting that in. And if you don't get it in today, get it in tomorrow because I'm going to start grading them.